The White House is panicking on Election Day. Donald Trump's chief propagandist, Karoline Leavitt, just held a disastrous press conference. She was asked about Donald Trump's MRI and why he received one. Here's what she says. Play this clip.
Why did President Trump get an MRI during his recent visit to Wall Street?
Look, as President Trump said, he would inquire with the physicians. I'll check back on that. But as the physical itself stated, Kristen, and as you all know, because you were all witness to it, every single day the president is in optimal physical health. This was a follow-up appointment, and we provided a detailed readout of that physical. I'm happy to give it to you again, and I can inquire further.
With all due respect, an MRI is a very specific procedure. It's done on a part of the body looking for something specific, so it's not generally part of any kind of routine checkup. And in addition, President Trump has said that he wants to be transparent. He told us to ask the doctors, which we have and have not heard back. Why don't we have more information on this?
As I said, I'll check back for you.
Next, Karoline Leavitt was asked about Donald Trump's post earlier this morning, where he claims the election in California for Proposition 50 is rigged. Donald Trump again spreading lies about the election. So Karoline Leavitt is asked, what evidence do you have that it's rigged? And of course, she doesn't have any. Here, play this clip.
Sure.
Karoline, the president posted on Truth Social that the voting underway in California is, quote, rigged. What evidence does he have of that, and what does it mean that mail-in ballots in that state are under legal and criminal review? By whom and why? And also, in this vein, does the White House still plan to issue an executive order banning mail-in voting, and what legal authority do you have to do that?
The White House is working on an executive order to strengthen our elections in this country and to ensure that there cannot be blatant fraud, as we've seen in California with their universal mail-in voting system. It's absolutely true that there's fraud in California's elections. It's just a fact. It is just a fact. They have a universal mail-in voting system, which we know is ripe for fraud. And if you want to deny that, I'm happy to provide you all of the evidence for it. I'd be glad to send that to you after this briefing.
Rigged.
Fraudulent ballots that are being mailed in the names of other people and the names of illegal aliens who shouldn't be voting in American elections. There's countless examples, and we'd be happy to provide them. As for executive action the White House is taking, yes, we are looking into that. And like any executive order, of course, any executive order the president signs is within his full executive authority and within the confines of the law. Stephen.
Just to remind you what Donald Trump said this morning, he says, the unconstitutional redistricting vote in California is a giant scam, and that the entire process, in particular the voting itself, is rigged. All mail-in ballots where the Republicans in that state are shut out is under various serious legal and criminal review. Stay tuned! ! Again, just making up deranged election conspiracies. That's what losers like him do. California Governor Gavin Newsom responded, these are the ramblings of an old man that knows that he's about to lose. Back to this disastrous press conference held by Karoline Leavitt. She's asked about the SNAP benefits that are have been ordered by a court to be paid out that Trump did not want to pay. Trump was throwing that great Gatsby party. And Trump posted earlier that he's not going to allow the SNAP payments to reach the recipients who are entitled to it. Watch what Karoline Leavitt says when she's asked about it. Here, play this clip.
Very quickly, Karoline, on SNAP. I know it's been asked, and I know Weege asked it, but I want to put a fine point on it. You talked about the president's post here, and he wrote that SNAP benefits will only be given when radical left Democrats open up the government. I understand your previous answers, but as written, how would that not violate court order as it's written?
I've now answered this question several times, Gabe. We are complying with the court's order. We are getting the payments out the door as quickly as we can. USDA sent the guidance to the state. The president is referring to future SNAP payments. He does not want to have to keep tapping in to an emergency fund and depleting it. In the case of a catastrophe in this country, he wants to have those funds preserved as they should be. And he's made it very clear Democrats should reopen the government. I have one final.
So she says we're complying with the court's order, but here was Donald Trump's post moments before that. Trump goes, SNAP benefits, which increased by billions and billions of dollars, many-fold during crooked Joe Biden's disastrous term in office, due to the fact that they were haphazardly handed to anyone for the asking, as opposed to those as opposed to just those in need, which is the purpose of SNAP, will be given only when the radical left Democrats open up government, which they can easily do and not before. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT. And again, this is a Trump government shutdown. He's withholding the Affordable Care Act extensions that are going to cause 20 million Americans to lose their health care. Donald Trump's the one withholding the SNAP benefits. And you saw what he said right there. So you have Karoline Leavitt out there saying one thing. That's what Trump's saying. Back to Karoline Leavitt. She's asked, should people fly next week? Because the transportation secretary, Duffy, is saying that it's unsafe to fly and that he's going to have to close lots of airports next week. So what should the American people do? Karoline Leavitt says the following. Play this clip.
The air traffic controller crisis ongoing. Secretary Duffy said he will now start to cancel and ground flights next week to maintain safety. Should people fly next week given this new information? And is the administration encouraging people to stop flying altogether and look at alternative transportation modes?
The administration is encouraging Democrats to reopen the federal government so this chaos and disruption to our air traffic control system in the United States of America stops.
Notice that she doesn't answer a very basic question. Will it be safe to travel next week? Will it be safe to fly? She refuses to answer that question. Next, a reporter asks her, okay, well, back on the issue of back pay for furloughed workers, Donald Trump saying he's not going to pay these furloughed workers when they return and that he's going to fire them all. So what's going on here? Here, play this clip.
Again. Karen, yes.
Back on the issue of back pay for furloughed workers, you said that the White House is open to discussing that with Democrats, but what would that discussion even be? There was a law, the president signed it in 2019. What could a discussion look like? Why is that even open for discussion?
Look, Karen, as I said, Republicans are talking about that with Democrats right now, and I don't want to get in the middle of those sensitive conversations. But as we've complied with the SNAP order, the White House, the administration is always going to comply with the laws. We're always going to comply with the ruling of judges across the country. But the Republicans are discussing this matter with Democrats right now.
Why would there even be a consideration of not paying those workers?
There's a good question. Why is it even open to discussion if you are violating the law? There shouldn't be a discussion. The furloughed workers should be receiving their back pay and they should keep their jobs. Like, what are you even talking about?
If you're ever worried about the safety of your home, you need to hear about SimpliSafe's early access Black Friday sale. I've used SimpliSafe for a few years, and here's why I recommend SimpliSafe to everyone I know. Traditional security systems respond after someone breaks in. SimpliSafe is different because it can stop crimes before they happen with its Active Guard outdoor protection. AI-powered cameras detect threats while they are still outside your home and alert real security agents. This is the game changer. These agents take action while the intruder is still outside. They confront the intruder, letting them know that they've been watched on camera and that the police are on their way, and even sounding a loud siren and triggering a spotlight if that's needed. This is how you stop a crime before it starts. Other systems have cameras that let you talk to intruders, but they require you to see the alert yourself. SimpliSafe's monitoring agents have your back and talk to intruders even if they aren't there. There are no long-term contracts or hidden fees. You can cancel anytime. SimpliSafe is also named Best Home Security Systems by US News and World Report for 5 years running. Don't miss out on SimpliSafe's biggest sale of the year, 60% off. Right now, our listeners can save 60% off on SimpliSafe Home Security System at simplisafe.com/Meidas. That's simplisafe.com/Meidas. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Next up, you had Wyja, great reporter. She asks, did the administration distribute the SNAP money or defy the court order? Because there was an order over this weekend saying the SNAP payments need to be paid. Pay them. And then the Trump regime's response was, we'll try to pay half of them and it's going to take time, but you don't understand. It's very complicated. No, it's not that complicated. The benefits were supposed to go there. Make sure they go there. Here, play this clip of Karoline Leavitt. Let's play it.
Clear up some confusion about SNAP benefits because the president just posted that they will only be given out when the radical left Democrats open the government. and not before. But just yesterday, the administration said it would comply with a court order to expend the full amount of SNAP contingency funds by end of business day yesterday. So did the administration distribute that money or defy that court order?
No, the administration is fully complying with the court order. I just spoke to the president about it. The recipients of these SNAP benefits need to understand it's going to take some time to receive this money because the Democrats have forced the administration into a very untenable position. We are digging into a contingency fund that is supposed to be for emergencies, catastrophes, for war. And the president does not want to have to tap into this fund in the future. And that's what he was referring to in his Truth Social post. So the Department of Agriculture, as for the latest SNAP payment in the judge's order, put out guidance to states today on how to get that money to the recipients of SNAP, but it's going to take some time. The best way to get the full amount of SNAP benefits to those beneficiaries is for Democrats to reopen the government. So to anyone who is a SNAP beneficiary at home who needs that assistance, and the president was just saying, this is for people who are truly needy, who need food, who need this assistance from the United States government. Democrats are holding it up and making it difficult for the administration to get those payments out the door. So if you are at home and you want your SNAP benefits, call the Democrats and tell them to reopen the government.
Next, a reporter asks, Trump said on CBS that he did not know the founder of Binance, the crypto billionaire who he pardoned. He says, I don't even know who he is. What's your response to that? Play this clip.
Karen.
In a second question, President Trump said to CBS in the 60 Minutes interview that he did not know the Binance founder, which he pardoned. What exactly did he mean for that? I know it caused.
He means he does not know him personally. He means he does not have a personal relationship with this individual. And when it comes to pardons, the White House takes them with the utmost seriousness, and the president understands the responsibility that he has as president to issue clemency and issue pardons to individuals who are seeking that. That's why we have a very thorough review process here that moves with the Department of Justice and the White House counsel's office. There's a whole team of qualified lawyers who look at every single pardon request that ultimately make their way up to the president of the United States. He's the ultimate final decision maker. And he was very clear when he came into office that he was most interested in looking at pardoning individuals who were abused and used by the Biden Department of Justice and were over prosecuted by a weaponized DOJ. And the individual you're referring to, that was certainly the case. Even the judge in his case said that the sentencing that the Biden administration was asking for was egregious and went too far. And so the president is correcting that wrong, and he has officially ended the Biden administration's war on the cryptocurrency industry. And I think that's the message he sent with this pardon.
Oh, you take it so seriously, Karoline, that you don't know the person's name? Really? Donald Trump doesn't know who he is? Should also be noted that in the past week or so, Bitcoin and crypto in general has been crashing. I think that needs to be discussed more. For someone who wants to call himself the crypto president, this guy has caused kind of more catastrophic events in the crypto market in a short period of time than ever imaginable by the crypto community. Next up, Karoline Leavitt is asked about, Trump keeps talking about killing the filibuster, kill the filibuster. Well, what if the Democrats then want to use it as well for their benefit? Are you okay with that? Here's what Karoline Leavitt says. Play this clip.
And on the shutdown, Democrats have been pretty quiet about the president's push for the nuclear option, terminating the filibuster. Is there any concern around here that Democrats might actually want Republicans to get rid of the filibuster so that one day when they're in power again, the door's already open for them to pack the Supreme Court, give statehood to D.C. and Puerto Rico, make mail-in balloting permanent, those kinds of things?
I think the president has been very realistic and strong in his position on the filibuster. He's been very vocal about it. I just spoke to him about it. He feels really strongly about this. Republicans need to play tough and they need to play smart. That's how the president feels. And we know that Democrats, if they are ever given a chance at power again in this city, they will absolutely take away the filibuster from the United States Senate. In fact, you had 49 Democrats who already voted to do this before. The only reason it did not move forward was because you had 2 Democrats who are no longer in office because they were run out of town by the far left radical base of their party. And so President Trump is quite clear on this. He wants to see Republicans move as many good pieces of legislation for our country forward in the next 3 years of his administration as they possibly can. And the filibuster is one means to doing that.
Then Karoline Leavitt is asked, what's Donald Trump's response to the death of Dick Cheney? Here's what she says.
Karoline, as of last I checked, the president still had not commented on the death of former Vice President Dick Cheney. Is the White House involved in the funeral arrangements in any way? Does the president plan to speak at the funeral? Has he spoken to anyone in the Cheney family today? And does the White House have an opinion on whether or not the former vice president should lie in honor or stay in the Capitol?
I don't believe the White House is involved in that planning, or at least hasn't gotten to it yet. I know the president is aware of the former vice president's passing, and as you saw, flags have been lowered to half staff in accordance with statutory law.
And then finally, she's asked, does the White House still plan to issue an executive order banning mail-in voting? And watch what she says. Play this clip.
Karoline, the president posted on Truth Social that the voting underway in California is, quote, rigged. What evidence does he have of that, and what does it mean that mail-in ballots in that state are under legal and criminal review? By whom and why? And also, in this vein, does the White House still plan to issue an executive order banning mail-in voting, and what legal authority do you have to do that?
The White House is working on an executive order to strengthen our elections in this country and to ensure that there cannot be blatant fraud, as we've seen in California with their universal mail-in voting system. It's absolutely true that there's fraud in California's elections. It's just a fact. It is just a fact. They have a universal mail-in voting system, which we know is ripe for fraud. And if you want to deny that, I'm happy to provide you all of the evidence for it. I'd be glad to send that to you after this briefing.
Rigged.
Fraudulent ballots that are being mailed in the names of other people, in the names of illegal aliens who shouldn't be voting in American elections. There's countless examples, and we'd be happy to provide them. As for executive action the White House is taking, yes, we are looking into that. And like any executive order, of course, any executive order the president signs is within his full executive authority and within the confines of the law. Stephen.
And then Donald Trump, as you know, this morning was on a rampage, posting, if affordability is you issue, vote Republican. Energy costs, as an example, are plummeting, getting close to $2 a gallon. Gasoline. When energy goes down, everything else follows, and it has. We all know that he's lying there. He goes, any Jewish person that votes for Zoran Mamdani, a proven and self-professed Jew hater, is a stupid person. I mean, this guy is completely and utterly deranged. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. Thanks so much for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.